we've all been taught that to master anything, we need to put 10,000 hours worth of effort into this very pursuit. However, with our busy lives, what if sometimes it's literally impossible to put that much time into anything you do, especially if you're not getting paid for it? What is the number of principles and number of ways that you can actually use to skip the line and do what you love most? This book here actually talks all about that. Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. So if you didn't know, my name is Yarik, and today I'm going to be talking about this bad boy, Skip the Line by James Altucher. So today I'm going to be talking about my 7 biggest takeaways I learned as a result of reading this book. Point number 1, experiment, be the scientist of your own life. Okay, the quickest way to achieve mastery in anything you do is to be a prolific experimenter. It's not about 10,000 hours, but it's about doing 10,000 experiments in this very field. Experiment, reflect, learn, and continue, and repeat and repeat and repeat. Most people are too afraid to skip the line. They're too afraid to actually experiment, and they're too afraid to fail. What we have to realize in this kind of concept that failure is not really a thing. Every time you carry out an experiment, you either succeed or you learn something. You have to understand that failure does not even exist in this paradigm, and this is the way to actually accelerate your growth. Anybody can be the scientist of their own life. Anybody can experiment with it. Everything you have to do is just continuously ask questions, continue improving. What you have to understand here is it doesn't matter whether the experiment is good or bad. It matters that you're actually carrying them out. Okay, here's some things James actually recommends. It's easy to set up and do. There's little downside. There's huge potential upside. It's never been done before, and you're learning something. You can't think your way to succeed, you need to act on it. For example, with me in starting my YouTube channel, I thought about starting a YouTube channel, like I tried to think my way into doing it, but in reality it just never happened, never actually improved. It's not until I actually sat down and started to record the videos, and over time actually slowly improved, that's when I actually got better. Okay, here's a good quote. The best laboratory is your life, the best scientist is yourself, the best experiments are when you try to do what has never been tried before. So yeah, keep trying, keep experimenting, see what happens, and continue doing it over and over again. Okay, and another thing you want to think about here is using fear as a compass. When something scares you, you want to actively pursue this very thing. The second point, idea generation machine. Okay, this is very simple, but very fundamental and very important. Simply write down 10 ideas per day. It doesn't matter what the ideas are, it doesn't matter how good or bad they are. What you're trying to do, you're trying to rewire your brain, rewire your mind to actively see opportunity, actively see ideas with anything you do. What we're doing here is actually growing this idea generation muscle. You're basically able to see more. This means you can create more and you can capitalize on a lot more. James talks about how this was one of the biggest contributors to him overcoming depression, and then afterwards being able to work with brands like Airbnb, LinkedIn, and Uber. Okay, here's some of my personal ideas, but I'll include some more in the description below. 10 ways to grow a YouTube channel, 10 ways I can help others with no money, 10 jokes, 10 ways I can move today, 10 new trends I can get on, 10 online creators who changed my life, 10 ways I can make money online, 10 YouTubers I want to collaborate with, 10 YouTube ideas about books. By the end of the year, you'll have around 3,650 ideas. What you have to understand here is the very key thing is like those ideas don't have to be good. You just have to keep writing them down, keep expanding on them. And maybe by the end of the year, you'll have 5 really good ideas you can capitalize on, or maybe 10, or maybe 40. By the end of the year, you'll start feeling abundant. You literally rewire your brain. You'll be able to see things and ideas happening all around you. Okay, what you have to understand is the muscle atrophies quite quick as well. So let's say you just lay in your bed for 2 weeks straight and you don't move your legs. And by the end of those 2 weeks, you need physio to be able to walk again. It's the same with this idea generation muscle. If you don't use it, you lose it. When it's what to do with your life, find your purpose. Having this romanticized idea that you'll have this one magic passion and purpose in life is complete bullshit. What you understand is you will always have more than one purpose in life. Your purposes are spread out throughout your life like a bunch of clues in a scavenger hunt. There are multiple ways to win, but you won't win. That is, find your purpose. Don't push forward and continue looking for clues. Basically, you can't really afford to wait for purpose to come to you. And you want to actively experiment and trying to pursue it in any way you possibly can. Experiment, keep trying new things out, keep trying new activities, try new things and see what happens. The first biggest clue you have here is obsession. Find something you're truly obsessed about and go towards this thing. Okay, here's some prompts which might be able to help you. So number 1, how would I structure the ideal day? Well, photos are on your phone. The things you take the most pictures of might contain clues to your purpose. What makes you the most energized? List everything you did in the past month, then rank them by how happy you were after doing each activity. And then lastly, what were you the most interested in from the ages of 12 to 15, and how have those interests changed? Use fear as a compass, figure out this very thing you're actually afraid of and go straight towards it. So for me, it was starting a YouTube channel. I was just incredibly afraid about doing it. So I deep down knew for the past like 3-4 years that this was something I really need to go towards, and only now I'm actually doing it. So what I want to do is with other things in life, I don't want to wait like 4 or 5 years before I start feeling so miserable about myself about doing it. So I want to see and I kind of observe the fear and actively go towards it. Yes, you can do it. Right, I'm getting a bit hot. I'm going to take this off. Okay, there are 2 points which I want to kind of string together here. The fear of other people's opinions and just brain's love for uncertainty. First, understand when somebody tells you that you can't do something, it's their way of imprinting their goals, their life and their reality onto you. It's their truth, not yours. You don't have to give any thought to it. You don't really have to give any energy towards it either. Let them live inside their own simulation, own little life, and you want to detach yourself from the vision they have of you. Others will always say that you can't do it when you want to skip the line. Just keep experimenting. Use this energy, this newfound energy, into something productive and creative for your experimenting. Let's talk about how our brain works and how much it loves uncertainty. So let's take it back a couple of million years ago when one of our ancestors was just walking and we saw a bush and it started to rustle. The ancestor would just naturally run away. However, the ancestors which didn't run away, didn't think it was that big of a deal, would slowly become extinct. Therefore, we have this fear of uncertainty literally ingrained into our genes. Okay, used to be a couple of million years ago that if we were kicked out of a tribe, this would literally mean death. You were alone in the jungle. Now, the stakes are much lower. You can just form a new friend group or friend circle, can meet more people, etc. But this kind of fear of loneliness and uncertainty is literally wired into our genes. That's why people stay in relationships and friendships which we know are not good for them. They would rather be with somebody who's weighing them down, rather be in the unknown and alone. When we feel like we're going to be kicked out of the tribe, this ancient panic, the stress response kicks in. We want to be aware of it before it takes over us. The key to skip in line is to constantly live in the world of not knowing. Constantly be curious, but not threatened by what's next. To live in a world where everyone else is scared, but you're so comfortable with the land of not knowing that you can still navigate the rough waters. Exit line, how not to get screwed over by the next recession. Recent events over the past couple of years has taught us that you can't rely on a paycheck as a stable source of income. It doesn't matter what direction life takes you, you want to have something to fall back on, a plan B, let's say. You want to experiment with side hustles, and then you want to experiment with doing stuff on the side and to figure out which works for you and something you're actually passionate about. So you want to take baby steps, kind of go from A to B to C, just taking it one step at a time. Slowly diversify what you're doing. An average millionaire has about 7 sources of income. The problem here is when our 9 till 5, which takes about 40 to 50 hours of our week, is only one source of income. Some of the side hustles you can think about and research into because there's just so many. Some could be starting your own SMA agency, it could be starting a YouTube channel, it could be trading crypto or just investing in crypto, it could be real estate, etc. Okay, next bit. Plus, minus, equal. This refers to the people you want to have in your life. This whole law of proximity. You are the combination of 5 closest people to you. But in the digital age, we can actually take it a step further. You are the combination of 5 creators you consume the most. So it's something to keep in mind as well. Plus, our mentors, virtual mentors, basically any people, anyone you can actually learn from. Books being virtual mentors. Reading can turn anybody into superhuman. Literally 200-300 pages is basically somebody's life work, 20, 40, 50 years, cuts down into this little tiny book. Minus refers to somebody with fewer skills which you can teach them to. Einstein once famously said, if you can't explain something simply to a 5-year-old, then you don't understand it yourself. Equals, you learn through competing with your peers, you challenging one another and trying to outcompete one another. It's all good learning from your mentors, but mentors already been where you're at, so it's not the same. The thing about peers, you learn through the process of you trying to challenge each other, and in the process all of you actually rise together. Last but not least, the 1% rule. Simply focus on improving a skill by just 1% every day. You'll be better off by about 3,700%. This is 37x from where you started. This is because you're not simply adding 1%, you're actually compounding them. The same could apply if you're getting worse by just simply 1% every day for a year. By the end of the year, you'll be 0.03x from where you started, which this means that you are 3% of where you were from the very start. Okay, what you have to take from this is compounding habits around you, whether for you or against you, and you have to understand this and use it to your advantage. 1% up or 1% down, your decisions about how you spend each day sneaks up until they become to define you. Every day matters. Each day is the difference between you being 3% of what you were last year or being over 3,700% of where you were. So make sure that every day you're always doing something to actually compound what you know. This is what all the world-class players actually use, and that's how they can leverage the stuff they do. Another book which greatly impacted me is Rich Dad Poor Dad, so I have a review of it right here if you want to check it out. Otherwise, I'll see you again next week. Bye.